Okay, Star Trek navigators. How do we navigate through the cosmos? That's why we're here, actually. There's a lady by the name of Lori Ladd that I saw a few times on her YouTube video channel that is just a beautiful spirit. She makes reference to spirit guides, okay, in which she's getting information that she is thus communicating to all of us, okay? So when she was communicating about dissolving paradigms, dissolving programs, everything we're experiencing is everything we're supposed to be experiencing because we're going through a rate of change, okay? Which essentially means we're going to rewrite a new movie because that movie is going to be based on a higher rate of speed, which means we're going to be experiencing a higher wave of speed. And that energy will feel a lot better than the energy that we've been experiencing here in this realm. Because that means that the fourth world is gone bye-bye. Okay? Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention before I leave for the day is talking about two things that I don't want to forget. I use these as frames of reference. It's like sometimes I try and explain. You get a lot of people on this planet in the schools, for example, in physics, no matter what hard sciences you want to go into, they try and explain how the universe works. Okay? I call it reverse engineering about things that have already happened. So they try and explain in observer mode rather than creation mode what they're experiencing, something that already happened. Okay? So I try and explain it this way. I try to refine the art of communication when you're speaking with either children or even adults that are running a program, how their program actually runs, and how the nature of it is why we experience what we experience, okay? Which are waves, signal, communication, okay? That antennas are picking up and we translate it, and then we figure out what that translated signal is, and that becomes what we experience as data, if you will. So as I left off with sort of the last video, I try and do it the short way, which is because normally I work with children, okay? And it has to do with all the data which relates to an experience that is held within the light, okay? So how much light are we using to experience who we are? Well, that's going to be based on the speed, okay? The higher the speed of the wave that you're experiencing, the more that you're aware of, okay? Which is called vibration perception. So the perception, which means the scope, or what it is that you're aware of all the things that are held within the light, is going to be based on the vibration. The speed at which you're experiencing who you are in that light. So the expansion of that light, of what you're aware of, is consciousness. Okay? That's everything that is out there that is possible for you to experience is all held within that light. So the way I explain it is infinite light is infinite data, which is infinite possibilities. That's why when I was a child, I had to come up with some way to rationalize using logic, the left brain, right? To explain how something like this could ever occur anywhere in the cosmos when you know that you are what love is in living spirit, okay, that you're now experiencing something lower than what that is here. There's got to be some rational explanation when you're running a high-speed waveform why you're experiencing something that's lower than what you are, that is communicating to you what it is. So that becomes, in what they call computer terms, a function, okay, an argument. Okay, so the argument becomes what I communicate back to you, what you communicate to me. We have a two-way pathway. So for instance, if I key a mic on a radio and I speak to you on that radio, then you and I, the antennas, my antenna through the transmitter and your receiving capability is going to be able to receive my signal. Now in this case, it's going to be sound and my voice. Okay, so you're hearing my voice communicate to you. Okay, so now I have the ability to tune your frequency in, and I can experience the frequency of the waveform of your communication. That's called signals intelligence, just like the U.S. Army, right? Signal Corps, same stuff. Ping, send out a signal. Hey, what is that? That's a transmission. Well, what is it saying? I don't understand the language, Captain. Talk to Data. Data has a database. According to my frequency here, this is 107.666. That's in star system so-and-so. Oh, that's a Romulan. Hey, we know that's a Romulan communicating to us. I'll say, scale all that up to everything that is in the universe that is communicating to each other. So you begin to realize that the cosmos is a communication system. It's a communications network. Yeah. So how do you get through to experience the entire universe? Everything that is out there to experience. Well, that's dependent on your waveform. See, if I'm running a high frequency spirit, I'm living spirit that's communicating to you, very high wave frequency of energy, somebody's going to translate that and go, Jesus Christ, excuse my French, right? No, I'd say it would be like, wow, man, that's a light warrior. This thing's running a lot of fire. My God, we need some of that in here. Give him our coordinates. No, he's already got our coordinates. He knows exactly where we are because he can go anywhere in the universe. Okay, well, he needs to be in here. He already knows that he needs to be in there because he realized that you're losing light in that planet. Oh, wow. Well, we need to welcome him as an ambassador. Okay, so that's Star Trekking. Okay? So one of the things, I wrote down a few notes here to make it easy, okay? Which has to do with all the data is held within the light. Infinite data runs on no memory. Okay? Because the speed in which it's being experienced in a bidirectional holographic movie projector is moving too fast to be captured in a time clock. A time clock is memory. Okay? You're moving outside the time stream. That's in eternal light. Wow, that's pretty fast. You got a lot of fire in that soul of yours, brother and sisters. Yes, of course. I love my cosmos. So it's like, wow, really? Yes, really. Okay? So it's that's what allows us to be a free spirit. Okay? You're free. You're free to be who you are. Nobody's trying to harm you. Express yourself. Do whatever you want. Okay? I'm not going to worry about what you're doing because the energy that you're using to do what you do it with is the same energy I'm running on. So I do what I do, you do what you do. So I don't need to hold you captive. Are you kidding? Go. Here's all the paints and crayons. Take off. Create whatever you want. Manifest it. Let's see what you got. How creative are you? Right? You thrive on that. You thrive on the power of creativity. You don't have anybody to take that power away from you because you're a free spirit. So you begin to realize the genius of the cosmos is a frequency. Okay? I've experienced energy that is far higher than a love frequency, and the higher you go, the more I love it, which means we're power junkies on the highest energy that you can experience because you love going fast. You know what I'm saying? So when you are there, there are no words that I know to describe what that's like, so what I do is I write love stories to goddesses. Because what I do is I go deep into my heart and I explain how deep my love goes, which is infinite. So I always thought with girls that I've met that I've had a relationship with, which is like, this is how I know how creative love is and the power of your imagination, which is if she says, well, show me how much you love me. And I said, okay, I'll show you how creative I can be. So that means that every day I'm going to find it's like your imagination is kicking. Now all of a sudden you're going faster because now you're able to use your imagination in so many different ways. You want to show her how creative you are. You want to show her how creative love is. Now you begin to realize there is a coupling effect between love and creation. Yes, they're synonymous with being one with everything. That means that you're always in the light because you're always using love to create things with. Now you're in the bidirectional mirror because what you're creating is running at the same energy you are. So when you're sharing the creative part of that imagination with a girl, her heart is lifted up, her spirit is lifted up. So you begin to realize when you're both running on that energy together, you're both free to be who you are. Nothing's holding you captive. You're not holding electrons captive. Okay? I had a very difficult time with that. I still do. Okay? I mentioned that to a lady yesterday when we were both looking at each other, and I go, these bodies are too heavy for us. We have to accommodate them, giving them water, giving them food to pull the nutrients that we need to keep this thing running. So it becomes difficult for others to understand or experience it the same way that we do. So I find ways to impart that kind of knowledge in how light works in stories. Right? So I write love stories. And that's easy to do with a girl's heart, because once she feels how deep and how much love you have in what we call a pure heart, which is pure spirit, because you have that much fire within you, which means your spirit is purified. And so when you're in here, it becomes like always coming full circle, which is like going from the single point. You're going out and experience everything that is out there. You pick up some contamination, and then you come back and you burn it off. Okay? So you're burning off all the junk as you go as a result of, well, all you got to do is look around you. You're experiencing everything that's happening here, but we're moving at an accelerated speed to change all that, which is like, for me, going back to purity. Because you don't want to experience contamination or toxicity or something's trying to change you from what you already are in the beginning, which is what love is and living spirit. So I've always sort of put it this way. A free spirit is self-love and self-rule, which means I don't need a president of the United States, okay, to tell me how I'm supposed to live his life any more than I would ever try and tell him how to live his. The universe will take care of itself. I can assure you of that. Okay? That's one of the reasons why I implicitly trust whatever's going to happen next is whatever's supposed to happen, which means I don't try and control what it is. Because you are what love is. It naturally will take care of itself. You're always getting back what it is that you are that you're giving, which is more of what you are. And when you do that, you are naturally going faster. And when you start experiencing the higher, faster speeds of your waveform, man, you're out of the box. Your imagination is free. Your creative power has been unleashed. And that's simple. So I talk about it this way, how light works. We are the rule book. Because we are first law star nations. Those are the Indians down here. So because love is the first law, that first law comes from Source. So we represent and we are in alignment with Source. That's first law. So I thought that was pretty simple. And why it is that the source of all, let there be light. You're no longer in a box. You've freed yourself from captivity of lower frequency consciousness that seeks to hold our light captive. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. We don't put things in cages and boxes. Okay, we can be in observer mode, just like all of a sudden I can think to myself right now that I'm above the earth plane, if you will, and I'm looking down and observing the planet. And that picture and that moving picture, everything that is down there, is in my mind as a moving picture. That's observer mode. And I can observe and actually experience everything that is going on down there as energy. How much light is being emitted by everybody. How the speed is changing. So I always sort of say this as an old commercial. Sorry, Charlie. Remember, only the best tuna will do? Okay. So we got a universe to create with our energy. Okay? And because that energy is what love is in living spirit, living in the light of all creation. And that's pretty simple. And children can learn that at a very early age. And when they do, and when that's reinforced throughout a community that is thriving, using that energy, then you can imagine the potential that we all have. So I wrote here just a few minutes ago that once a child experiences this with their parents and the thriving community in which they're all a part. All of humanity is thriving because everything that we use our energy for is for each other and the entire cosmos. So the simplest way that I know how to do that, because I knew this as a child, is while I was measuring, particularly in science, all the hard sciences. I thought, okay, what are these guys who got all these PhDs, what are they doing with their energy? All the scientific knowledge that they have, are they using it towards the benefit of everybody on the planet? No, they weren't. Well, then you obviously realize that the difference between knowledge acquisition and their spiritual development in the light and the speed at which they experience who they are is not coupled. They're not matching. So you don't have a matchup. You don't have science being matched up with spiritual development, which means how much light is your spirit experiencing in that light, the waveform speed of who you are. Because everything that I've ever discovered, and this is true of almost all light workers and light warriors I've ever met, they share everything that they know with everyone at no charge. No charge. Massless consciousness has no charge. 0 point. Okay? The charge is in the bang between the two. Like turning on the ignition of a car. So that's what makes it difficult when you're always giving away electrons all the time, because you want to give everything away that's in material form, because you're not the material form. That's matter density programming. I'm not density. I can't stand to be in density. It's too heavy. So I always say, get the picture, the moving pictures, how fast do you move? So everything is sort of in a waveform frequency as to how we're communicating with each other, the energy that we are, that we use to communicate with the entire cosmos. So what is the energy we're using to communicate with? So I love to hang out near volcanoes where the energy is very high. And that's why I jumped to the island of Hawaii, because the energy there is so beautiful to experience. And that's why when a couple of weeks ago I realized what they were doing in Hawaii to lock down Aloha, I said, oh my God, let's see how long that lasts. I know too many Hawaiian people over there that are not going to allow them to put Aloha out on that island. Now I'm talking about Oahu. And I guess they're carrying out the same stuff over on the other islands, but let's see how long that lasts. I was intending on going back there in a couple of months because there's a guy who's got a residence over there, which is Zuckerberg, okay? That energy's got to go off that island. And if we're returning to first law, which is love is the law, then you know that that energy's got to go off that island, because that's where we're headed. Kauai was the first island. I was 21 years of age when I got there and experienced the biggest love pipe of energy I've ever experienced since I've been on this planet. And my heart just exploded in terms of how much light and how much love I was aware of that was coming into me. And I experienced that over on the west side of Kauai, which would have been about, 9 miles west of Hanalei Bay, which is a great surfing point. So I can just imagine how all the surfers on the north shore of Kauai and Oahu were going to handle a lockdown. Right. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. That's all I have for the day, and I just wish everyone could experience the planet being with the girl the same way that I do, with such high frequency energy that what can I say? I love you all. I hope you all have a beautiful and happy, joyful day, especially with your children, your families, and your community. We're headed in the right direction, and that's going forward in speed. Thank you very much for everything you all do that are all here, that represent the light and what love is, that we can bring greater harmony and greater peace back to this realm. Thank you all for being here, and I mean that from my heart, with the deepest amount of love that I can give everybody here.